Good afternoon. We'll be starting in a few minutes. Good afternoon.
Hello, Emma. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
All right, thank you.
Have you got your calendar available? Good.
Oh, there we go. Camera started up now. So I was just staring at the screen going, why am I not appearing?
There we go. How are you doing today?
Yes. There you go. You see today.
Yes. Because it's February. Hooray.
Oh, it is. So I can turn that over now. Thank God. Oh.
You've got people joining us now at last. Oh,
Exactly.
It's that breath of relief, isn't it? I know it's not for everybody, but for most people, there's like, oh.
You know, it's just how it is. I've still got a couple of people who've just bimbling along because they've gone, oh, I've got an extra month, haven't I?
Yep. Hi, Brian.
There you go.
I see you. Yeah, exactly. There are some that just seem to have just decided they'll wait a bit longer. And you're like, well, okay, but then when you're ready, if I'm ready, I'll do it.
Well, this is it. So, hey ho. You've done all you can, and then sometimes you're waiting on other people to do stuff. I've done all I can do, so there we go. While I have you there, will there be another set of email invites, Emma? Because this is the only one I have.
Oh.
I haven't got any for the rest of February or March yet.
I think, are you not getting the weekly?
Not the last couple of weeks I haven't.
You should have done. They come out every Monday.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but
you're not
I
getting
haven't seen.
Check your junk for me just in case something's happened.
Yeah, hang on. I'll do that while you're there, if I
may. Yeah. Is anybody else not getting our weekly emails?
Yeah, getting Mark.
Yeah. You're getting them. Okay. Just want to make sure. I don't want to not have, if there's a problem, we can all sort that out for you.
No is the answer to that, Emma. It's
okay.
Not in the junk folder and it didn't arrive yesterday.
Okay. I'll get our system checked for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you've got the calendar, haven't you?
Oh, yes.
The big,
we've got that, and we have the other calendar
big
as well.
Orange one, yeah. So they'll be coming out quarterly with stuff. And the other thing is also to make sure, which we'll put out in a bit, is about going to the AVM website, because we do try and keep that up to date too. Okay, so we're due to start, so I'm sure the people will come in, but again, if you want to talk, just switch on your mics. Not quite happy for you to chat, or if you want to put it in the chat box, that's fine. I thought we'd start with just asking you, how have you rewarded yourself for making it to February the 1st and not having a complete and utter breakdown? So what are you doing to celebrate? Who'd like to?
We should be having a takeaway delivered by our favorite Chinese restaurant next Friday.
Nice.
No, we're all going out for a bite to eat on Thursday afternoon for the afternoon and evening, so that'll be great.
Fantastic. That's
yeah.
Nice.
My wife and I are going to the Hilton in Park Lane to celebrate my birthday in April, so that's going to be a super duper weekend away.
Wow, that sounds lovely. Come on, Giles, come online, tell us what you've been doing, what you're going to do to celebrate that you've done your tax returns, and same with you, Julian and Brian and Rowan and Roscata. Sorry, I didn't see your name right. Roxana, sorry. Brilliant. Yeah, bottle of fizz on the cards on Friday. And a new house. Whoa. That's a bit of a great celebration. A bit stressful, but good celebration. I think it's really important, isn't it? How about you, Julian? What are you doing to celebrate?
What am I doing to celebrate?
To get just celebrating getting to February and not having a bit of a meltdown.
I promised myself a day off. I'm in the lovely part of Spain, and I enjoy cycling, and I'm going to go for a midweek cycle ride for the day.
Good, good. Time for you. That's perfect.
Yes.
That's perfect. That's the thing, I think, it's just making sure that we just have a little bit of time out. I'm glad, Stephen, it's great that you're taking the team, celebrating with the whole team. I mean, so are you, fan, aren't you, anyway? But it's just making sure, you know, you just stop for a minute. Because I think one of the things that the government unwittingly do when they extend deadlines and things is actually they can often increase our stress levels, because like we were just saying, some people have just gone, oh, well, I'll not bother bringing it in for another few weeks. And then you think, okay, but for us, we're like, do you know what? Now it's your responsibility, so move on. But just getting through December and January, which is always stressful. I know a few of you on here last time were telling me how it wasn't stressful because you'd planned it so well. But even so, you know, I came on and I did this huge sigh, didn't I? You're like, because it's just like, thank goodness we've got to the 1st of February. So first of all, you need to remind yourself to just take time out. And like Julian said, have a day out. Particularly, it's actually really good if you take one out in the middle of the week or sometime when you wouldn't normally have it. And I like that Stephen's saying that Thursday, we're going to have Thursday afternoon and evening. That's great. You know, sometime where it's specific, that it's not, they're not giving up any personal time. They're just having some fun. So make sure that that's always built into your thing. But obviously now that you are into February, now we need to think about what your goals are moving forward, because I think for most accountants, 1st of February is like our new year. It's the time where we can say, okay, now we've got through all that rubbish and that stress. What are we planning to do now for the next 12 months? And Kerry is on. I've just seen her. So I just want to remind you, if you haven't already booked, that tomorrow she is running a 10 till 1 session on goal setting, focusing purely on getting what you want. So there are business stuff in there, but it's about just making sure you get what you need out of life and your business tomorrow. It's going to be a great session. I'm joining to find out what she can bring, because obviously with her wellness background and everything else, she's got other ideas she's bringing to the table. So if you haven't booked, please do. It's going to be a really good session, but it gives you again focus. So maybe that's some of your time out. Some of your time out is just to have those 3 hours where you focus on you. Get out of the office, go and sit and do this somewhere else where you can be with Kerry and go through those goals and work out, what do you want out of this next year? What do you want it to be different? Because I think that's the other thing I wanted to focus on today was, what's been the learning from the last 12 months? You know, what is it that you've learned? And there's 2 sides of that, isn't there? What do we want to do as well? Sorry, there's 3 sides. What do we want to do better? And what do we don't want to do anymore? And they're really key. So who would like to share with me some of the key learning that they've had over the 12 months that they would either, I think they've done really well, or they'd like to do better, or they just want to not have this happen again? Go on then, Stephen.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing that we've picked up on, I mean, as a team, and this isn't necessarily my comment as well, I think as a team, we've identified those jobs where actually we could have actually got them done a little bit quicker if we'd not sort of picked them up, put them down again. Could have got some of those jobs done sooner, a lot sooner in the year, by kind of just a little bit better sort of like time workflow tracking. But that's still not caused us any particular problems, but I think could do even better. And I think the guys have noted that. So that's on our agenda to make sure we do that bit to turn around the workflow, monitoring that easier.
Okay. Well, I don't have to pick on people.
Perhaps everybody's just perfect.
Well, maybe they are, but to me, I think, sorry, Brian, go on.
I've got something for you. last year my wife suffered a heart attack and ended up in St Thomas's having a triple heart bypass and aortic valve replaced. That put life very much into context for me and what was really important. And of course, it is the people around us that we love and care for. So therefore, although we're here for our clients, we have to have it all in perspective. So that our family comes first, and okay, our clients will have to take a back seat, and if they don't like it, well, tough. Our loved ones are more important, and so it's given me a strength to perhaps stand up to my clients about all sorts of things, their accounts, their tax bills, or the way they do their business. So yeah, I've learned a lot in this last year.
Thank you for sharing that, Brian. That's yeah, makes us all think, I think, sometimes, doesn't it? Yeah. So is this about you planning your life better so that you have more time at home or better time at home?
It's given me the strength and perspective to have better quality time at home with my wife, because God could have taken her last year, but he didn't. And she's got another 50 years ahead of her. So happy days. Hence the Hilton at Park Lane.
Very nice. Kerry, did you want to add something?
Oh, am I off mute? I couldn't see that. I'd put it on my phone because I was going to multitask. I was going to go for a walk and listen at the same time. And as soon as I walked out the door, my internet just went, no, you're staying in. So I thought I'd just pop on. I think one of the things for us this year has been that January's just flown by, and it's February already. And when you think about, I've literally just been sat looking at everything that I wanted to achieve in January. And I think it's just gone that quick that we forget. We go through the day-to-day things of we need to do this, we need to do that. And before you know it, it's the end of the month and you've not actually achieved anything that you set out at the first of the month to achieve. I don't know if anybody else has found that this year, or whether it's just me.
I think as well, sometimes you have achieved it, but you've not recognized it because you're in such a mad rush. It's the hamster wheel, isn't it? You're just carrying on going. So you actually don't take time out to go, I have recognized that. There's a few people that I've been speaking to that over the past year, we've been creating whiteboards on Coach Accountable of things that were important to them. So their goals was one of it, which obviously you're going to cover tomorrow, Kerry, in your session, but also we've talked about, what are the important things that get done? And I've actually said to them, go back now, because you've probably not thought about them for the last 2 months, maybe even 3, to be honest, sometimes with the work that you've got on, and just go back and actually see what you can tick off, because you'll be amazed when I hear it when people tell me stuff, but they don't acknowledge it, that they have done stuff. It's just that you just look at your to-do list and it just gets bigger every time, doesn't it? So it's about making sure you recognize the work that you have done and celebrating that. Thank you, Rowan. It's no problem eating your lunch. That's fine. We did a much better job of getting those tax returns in sooner. Using new practice management software and having a designated individual chasing at the touch of a button made it very easy. That's good, true, isn't it? So that's part of about understanding roles and actually making and using the best technology to help you. And that's what, again, I'm finding those people that have had a really good practice management piece of software in place, who have been able to automate a lot of the admin-y type stuff, the reminders, the emails, texts, even, perhaps investing in something that texts clients because they're not reading their emails. That's been working really, really well. And that sort of leads me to the fact that, there's other learning. So those of you that joined a bit late, we were just talking about the fact that, we've got to the 1st of February. Well done, everybody. What are you rewarding yourself? How are you going to reward yourself for having got through this? Even though I know we've got an extension, but most of us are trying not to manage that we've done most of it already. So first of all, how are you rewarding yourself? And secondly, what's the key learning that you've got? Is that something that you've done really well, which in this case, several of the people on here are doing really well, things you would have liked to have done a bit better, or things actually you thought, you know what, I don't want to do that ever again. There's something has to change in our systems, or something has to change in what we do. And, Brian's talked about changing how you communicate with your clients and the relationship you have with your clients so that it becomes a proper relationship where they take ownership as much as you. you know, they've talked about different things. So if you've got anything else you want to add, either put your mic on and chat, or put something in the chat box if you're eating your lunch and you don't want to be on camera, though I don't mind seeing you eating your lunch, it's fine. You know, please join in on that. For me, the big learning, I think, is that we get through, we find, I think, even though we are not accountants at AVN anymore, we haven't got accountancy practice, we use December and January to sort of plan our year and to try and catch up on things. And we've been doing a lot on our own internal systems and looking at systems for members. So those of you that have gone anywhere near System Builder, and I know most of you haven't done really, but those of you that have will have seen that a huge amount of documents have appeared in pending. And that's because we have as a team have been going through a whole load of the AVM resources and systems and updating them. So my task is to update all the operational systems. So again, I'm working through those, but any feedback would be great to make sure that they are more relevant to you and your team, which would be good. But we're also going through all the marketing. We're also going through all the resources. So you'll see a lot of stuff in the pending. And if you go to external pending, you'll see them there that are from us. Now, we only overwrite things like the action resources where we might, because those you just customize as and when you use them. We never overwrite any of the systems or documents that are in System Builder because you may have customized them for the way you work. So that's why they're in pending, because pending allows you to choose whether or not you want to accept those documents, whether you want to make it part of your own, or whether actually you just want to park them and carry on doing what you're doing. So, you know, that's so perhaps one of the plans for the next month is to just break down that block of pending documents between you and your team, and each of you just go and have a quick look and decide whether or not you want to accept them or not. Perhaps come back to you and say, okay, this is what we're doing. But I wanted to talk a little bit about systemization, because I think in December and January we're so busy doing it, often sort of systems go out the window. We have checklists of things, and we're now using software to help monitor workflow, but we don't have the time to just step back and make systems better. And so I wanted to share with you a resource that's in System Builder. So if I just share my screen a minute, and we go to Word documents. Oh, that's not the one. Typical. Okay, I'll download it again. So this document, how to systemize your practice, is in System Builder. Okay, a step-by-step guide. We have in the past run events purely on systemization, and it's part of Clarity that we do it, and we make sure that we go through some of the system stuff, and we do some stuff ourselves. And Stephen has asked, and it will happen next week, that we're going to be looking at System Builder about how we change resources and how we upload new resources and make them live. So Jenny will be doing that tomorrow. No, sorry, next Tuesday. But I was going to go back a step and go, okay, what is the importance of systems, and how do we make that work for us? So there is a great resource in here. And I sort of summed it up in this slide that I had. So let me just show you. So the thing about is where to start. Now, for most of us, what we need to do is go back and look at the last 2 months and go, okay, what worked, what didn't work, what do we need to do a bit better? And that's where the first thing is list, brain dump it, okay? Brain dump everything that you can think of that perhaps needs working on. I know in our heads as well, we're probably going to be focusing on operational, because that's where we've been for the last 2 months, but also start thinking about marketing, start thinking about internal systems with your team, start thinking about, so where have the issues been with communication with your team? Where have been the issues with perhaps onboarding, or maybe it's about, you know, working, that things you need to do, that we need to have some systems on how we do it. We were talking this week about just clarifying our system on where we store documents, because we use Dropbox, okay? And there were rules about where things went, and it's all gone to pieces over the last 2 years because we've had a new team member and we've probably not trained them properly about that, and we've forgotten as well. And so our system, one of our key systems for this week is, right, okay, where do we store stuff? That's the main important thing, because we've realized that one of our biggest inefficiencies is searching for stuff. It's trying to find stuff we know we already have. So we've looked at that, and that's, so the first thing you have to do for everything is just work out, what is it? What is it? Just brain dump all the things that you need to write down. Okay. And importantly, there's no point systemizing things that have no real effect on the business. So the important thing next is to classify them. So when you focus on your systemizing, the first thing we need to do, the way that our business survives, is by keeping our clients. Okay. So the first thing to focus on is what has to be done absolutely correctly for your ideal client to want to continue to work with you and pay you. So they're the first things, because satisfying the client is the key thing, isn't it, first of all? But that often has knock-on effects, because as we know, we need our team to be happy in order for them to give great service to our clients. We need our internal processes to work and be efficient for us to be able to help our ideal clients. We need to allow time in our processes to be able to be proactive and be able to look at our clients and not just do the day-to-day work, but have the opportunity to look at other things we could do with them. So there is lots of things. So when we talk about this, not just about operational, it's about other things. And if I go back to this document, the systemization, which is all detailed, what I wanted to show you about was this bit of classification. Okay. And so again, it's really easy to start off by, and often we do in systems, we go, okay, you know, how to make a cup of tea, or yeah, we find really silly things for you to do. And the reason that we do that is because, for example, I got a team to write their own systems on how to make the best spaghetti bolognese. And I have to tell you, if you get 20 people in a room creating the best system, you get 20 different things, because everybody has a different way. Everybody's definition of the best spaghetti bolognese is different. Everybody's, what they do and how they do it is different. So the idea about systems as well is about coming together and creating a common agreed way of doing something. Because if you can do that again within your team, it's great, because you know, as a leader or a manager, that things are getting done the way you want to do it. So I'm not asking you now to make spaghetti bolognese. What I'm saying is the importance of systems is about getting that clarity between you all to make sure that, you know, everything that you do, let me just make that a little bit bigger, is showing you, is consistent through your team. So, oh, where did that go? There we go, right. So this is one of the ways of actually just working out how you prioritize them, okay? Because like I said, we only do the spaghetti bolognese for a fun thing to show that, but actually what you need to do, because systemization is a big job, is first of all think, okay, brain dump, in particular brain dump all the issues, the frustrations you've had, and then you need to think about, okay, how do we make sure that ultimately we are delivering to ensure that the customer is looked after? So the first question to ask is, does the process define your company to your customers, team members and owners? So how do they see you by doing it? So does it help that? Okay. If it's about how the world sees you, positioning, then it's about identity, isn't it? So they're quite important, because that's how the world sees you. So they are probably important, but not urgent, you know, in that lovely grid we have. But that doesn't mean they're not really, really important, because they're the ones that we often miss, don't we? But they are critical because they're for our future. But the second one is, no, it's not defining that. Does it mean that we have to excel at a process that's critically important to the business performance? And that's where a lot of the operation stuff is, isn't it? And that's where we have, yes, so their priority. That's why I said we're going to start probably with the things that affect the customer first. Okay. But behind all of those systems, we have another one, which is, it might not be critical to the customer, to what we deliver to the customer, but it might be critical in the background. So does the process provide the necessary support? Because all that, you know, behind those lovely set of accounts is somebody scanning information in, maybe, or somebody, you know, chasing information, or whatever else it is. And they are as important. They're not classed as priority because they're not client facing, the client doesn't see them, but behind the scenes, they are as important because they support. So Again, these are ones that we need to focus on. And then finally, is this because it's legally required? And the answer is yes, we can mandate it, we can make sure it happens. If it's no, so if we've come across something and it doesn't define us to our customers, it's not critically important, it doesn't support us in our processes, and it's not legally required, then why are we writing a system for it? And that's the question, isn't it? Yeah. So sometimes, so this is what I want you to ask yourself as well, because it's really easy for us to write systems that actually have no relevance whatsoever for us. Okay. So it's about thinking about that and making sure then that obviously we're looking at the priority and the background ones, because they're really critical to make sure that background efficiency, priority is about delivering on the service, identity, how the world sees us. So there are key areas in there. So going back to my slide, you need to do that classification just so that you're aware of, right, how am I going to help prioritize these things? And so for some of you, you know, like Brian said, actually some of the priority is about actually allowing him to be able to have value, you know, great time with his wife. So what has to be done and who do we need to help us and how do we make that work? Okay. But again, for other people, it might be different. The third step is map it. And you know how much I love post-it notes for this. You've seen me do it before, you know, and get everybody involved. That's why I said about the spaghetti bolognese. If you get as many people as possible with the post-it notes thing. So for every step, write a separate post-it note. Okay, put it along a wall or, you know, somewhere else. If you want to do it online, just do it, you know, on a little PowerPoint thing and put little boxes and move it around. And then what checklists need to come off it, what documents need to come off it, and get everybody to discuss why each section is important. And again, this is where the next bit works. You analyze it, because as you're going through it, and particularly when the more people you get involved in this, you start spotting where it works and where it doesn't. You start spotting where one person follows the system and one person doesn't. And if they're not, we need to find out why. Is it because their bit is better? Or is it because they don't understand why they should be doing it differently? And this, I think sometimes people get a little bit frustrated with systemization and say, well, don't look at all this stuff we've done and we've not actually got any systems written yet. But this is so important because it's getting that agreed process is important. And then once you've got the process as it is now, okay, this is what we do now. Yeah, we've agreed how it is. Now you can stop and look, step back from it on the wall as it is all set out and go, do you know what, could we do this any better? And this is where, again, you need to encourage them to think about outside the box. What if you didn't have to do that bit at all? Who could we get to do that? What else could we do? Could we encourage the client to do it? You know, what could we use? Could we use a piece of technology? Could we actually try something slightly different? Maybe we could just do something completely different. And the idea with innovation here as well is to make sure that you think about businesses that are not like yours. So, you know, for example, when you think about onboarding, okay, I know yours is a service, but if you buy an Apple product, don't know if any of you bought an Apple product. This year I got my first new Apple product, unbelievable. But it came and there was, you know, all sorts of fancy stuff with the boxing and the way it looked and the fact that it was already preloaded and it just ran. And then all I had to do is put my fingerprint now on a little bit of button and everything works. You know, I've got to remember all sorts of stuff. There was all these little things that made it such an easy, simple thing to do, to use. And maybe with us on onboarding, we need to think, okay, how do we make this experience easier for clients? And what could we emulate that Apple do? Well, for example, you know, this is a welcome thing. We could do the welcome pack. Maybe we could do something that's a little bit of a wow. You know, what else could we do? The follow-up email. So I got a series of follow-up emails that sort of said, you know, welcome to this. Have you thought about looking at that? Have you thought about looking at this? You've got this free extra bit here for the next 14 days to try. All this stuff appeared. So again, not only thinking about your own business, but what could you take from other people? When you look at something, you go, wow, that was cool. What could we do to innovate it to make it better? And then 6 is about quantifying it. So what is our measure of success? Ultimately, the whole point of a system is that it has an objective to do something that rewards us as a business. Okay, so what is our measure of success? At the end of this system, what are we supposed to accomplish, and how do we measure that? So, for example, on a lot of our operations ones, yes, ultimately we are producing a set of accounts, but we might want to measure turnaround time. We might want to measure customer feedback. So our measure of success is that we turn it around in 45 days or less for the account, and that a client gives us a 5 out of 6. What is that measure? Because ultimately those measures again will go onto your one-page plan, and the job is to make it better, isn't it? So having got all that stuff agreed, then you write it down, and it needs to be somewhere where everyone can see it. And this is where System Builder works. And I know a lot of people, you just store stuff on Dropbox, Cloud, anywhere else. The issue I have with that is that often with those sort of things like Dropboxes, you have to download it to use it often, or you have to make sure that you've got a link to be able to see it, which means you're not always using the latest version. So if you've gone in and gone back and looked at Innovate again, and you've changed something, then your team may not be using the latest version. Something like System Builder, that when they go in, they see the latest live version. So think about how you can use that. Whether or not you use System Builder, find something where everybody can see it, everybody can access it, and they all know they are using the most up-to-date version. That's the key. And then obviously, then we need to test it. So with all systems, we need to run it and test it. And in particular, those people where this system is perhaps a little bit different for them, where we've engaged them into thinking about maybe doing things a little bit different from the way they normally do it, get them to test the system, follow it properly, and check that it's all there. Everything they need to know is there, and test it through. And again, making sure that when you've tested it and you've done it, you're doing the quantification bit. So you're seeing how good that system is. And then the final step is go back to 4. So, okay, go back, work out where does it work? Where isn't it working? Because the world changes. Let's innovate a bit more. I say this quite often, but we spend a lot of money on our continued professional development. Okay, we spend a lot of money training team. All that learning shouldn't just be in our heads or their heads. It should be built into the business. Whatever we learn, we should be thinking, okay, how does that affect what we do for our clients? How does that make sure that our client wants to continue to work with us and pay with us? What do we need to change in our systems to ensure that we always do this, that it's not just something that's in the back of my head thinking, oh yeah, I went on that course and they said, oh, we should try doing that. But actually building it in. So it's a regular thing. And that's why if you've noticed on System Builder, and it's annoying to be quite frank, but it's important that every 6 months, it reminds you that this is due to be reviewed. You can change that review date. So if it's something that you think, actually, we probably don't need to review for 12 months, you can change that. But it's built that, every 6 months, you just go back and go, is this still working for us? Is this still the best way to do it? And like I said, any system that affects your clients, that makes sure that your client wants to continue to work with you and pay for you, they are the ones that need reviewing on a regular basis. And those are your team that are learning and training and are still learning their craft as accountants. Pick their brains, pull them in, get them to think about what can we do differently. I often say, a lot of our team, they love looking at technology outside of work. They're doing all sorts of stuff. They Google search, they look at the internet, they find all stuff. And why not test them a task of doing something for the business? So, if our ideal client is a software developer, get them to go and find, okay, where do software developers hang out? What do they appreciate? Get on their forums, find out what they do, what they're complaining about. Go talk to them and get them to do it, and then go back and amend the systems. And there's no reason why you can't have systems that are relative to certain types of businesses, certain trading entities, whatever. You make it work for you. So you'll spot that in audit and accounts preparation systems in System Builder, there's a section where it goes off and it says, right, this is the bit you do for limited companies, this is the bit you do for partnerships, this is the bit you do for sole traders. You know, the body of the system is available to everybody because we need consistency for all clients, but then there are these little extras. So do that. So really important to make sure that happens. So as part of your goal setting, hopefully with Kerry tomorrow, but definitely in your own time, I want you to think about, where do we need to focus? What could we do? Because everybody tells me they want to be more efficient. Everybody tells me they want communication to be better. Everybody tells me that they want to get more of their ideal clients. So you need to get your ideal clients to be really happy so that they become your advocates or your raving fans and start talking about you. And that becomes part of your marketing systems then, doesn't it? Okay, so again, it could be that in your operational systems, you do your accounts, you do your measure down here, you quantify it. If somebody gives you a 6 out of 6, the next step is go and get a testimonial, go and get a video of them talking about it, get them to say, do something that can go on the website, get them to put something on Facebook for you, get them to put something on LinkedIn for you, whatever it is. And you start then building and linking the systems. But importantly, you need to work out how to focus that and then to break it down within your team. So again, when you do that brain dump and you go all the way down here, you need to work out, okay, who else is going to write this down? I don't want you to be writing these systems down. I want your team to be doing it because they'll take ownership of it. So this is a really good time to look at that. And what this also helps is, like I said, when you quantify stuff, that starts making, you start connecting that back to your practice one-page plan. Because you go, okay, this is actually really important. So you could have a system about promoting the sections of the performance measurement improvement system. Okay, there are 9 sections in there. So again, you would map how you would talk about each of them. You'd analyze how that, where, you know, what works and what doesn't at the moment. You'd come up with other ways of doing it. You'd measure, how am I going to do this? Okay, it might be that for every accounts meeting, I'm going to talk about benchmark. And then that quantification becomes then part of your one-page plan, because you can say, okay, how many meetings did we have this month? How many people did we talk to about benchmarking? How many people did want it? And that starts then your growth, which is your next step, isn't it? So we started with operations. We've probably got a little bit about marketing, and now we're talking about growth because it leads on that way. So if you've not looked at it before, okay, if I just close that for a second, I'd like you to please look at this document. There are some videos as well, but again, it's time, isn't it, for that? This is much easier to just work your way through, okay? Really important, getting your team to implement it. Next week, Jenny is going to talk about how, once you've got that system mapped out, how you can get it into System Builder and how you then update them and review them, because that's the key, isn't it? Making sure that you move through it all the time. Has anybody got any questions? Because I've sort of whizzed through that, but I just wanted to bring you back to the fact that when you set your goals, that also helps you focus on what systems you need to deliver those goals. Nothing works independently. In a way, you need to think, right, this is what I want. This is what I need the business to deliver. How's the business going to deliver that consistently? We need some systems in place. That's the drive behind it. Any thoughts? Has anybody got where they think they really need to start? I mean, the other thing we always say, you know, that organization chart in System Builder, you're probably in every single box. Or there's probably some boxes that you've never actually been in because you've never thought to do it. Okay. And it's like, okay, how do I get out of a box? Maybe that's one of the things. Yeah. Onboarding's a big one. And if you look at System Builder, you'll see there's a new section called workflows in the top level. If you click on there, you'll see that I've done a sort of visualization of an onboarding process. with some click-throughs to some of the resources in System Builder that can help. Obviously, the key thing for you is making sure, and I was just talking to somebody this morning about this, is that when you sign somebody up, obviously when you onboard them, the next thing is getting the tasks done. And again, this is something that Times Up is really good for helping you with, because if you've used Times Up for the quote, you can do the print working sheet from the quote, and that will tell you what level of service they've bought and all the other optional extras, so that when whoever's setting up the client in your CRM system, on your job tracking system, they can use that sheet to start triggering actions or tasks to make sure that you deliver on it. So there are ways of making things much easier for you. But yeah, have a look. Onboarding is one of the things I think people get worried about because they need to get through. To me, the biggest thing as well, obviously, is once you've got them onboarded, keeping them engaged with you. Particularly if you think you're not going to, normally they don't see their accountants for the next 12 months. They want their accounts doing, you onboard them, you do the accounts, and then people don't get to see their account for another 12 months. You're going to be different. So what can you do to keep in contact with them once a quarter?
I think it's a really good thing as well, Emma, if you think about everything that we've just done for the past few months. What things do you need to systemize so that this time next year you're in the same place? If you're bringing in more people over the next 12 months, they aren't going to know what's happened and how you've got to where you need to be by the end of this month. So if you can systemize all that and get that down when, if you are growing and bringing on new people, then everything's there for you to be in the same position this time next year. So I think it's a really good tool to use, especially now.
I agree. Before I go, I just want to remind you about 2 events. Obviously, I've reminded you already about Kerry. Thank you, Kerry, for putting your link in. If you honestly, as a reward to yourself, take that time out tomorrow if you can, to do this, because it's important that your business delivers for you and you can get those goals clear. If you've got team members who have not really got their head around AVN, it might be worth sending them on the Clarity event, which is on the 15th. It's a virtual one, so it's a Zoom one again, but that's an overview of the first tools that we talk about at the beginning. So we talk about System Builder and how to use it. We talk about Times Up and how to use it. We talk about On Track and how to use it. We talk about time management, and we talk about how to communicate better as a team. So there's 5 key things there that actually, for newer team members, that's quite a good way of getting your head around it. Or if you've not been on it for a while, maybe it's a good refresher. The following day, if you want to book on it, if you go onto the AVN website and go to events, there is an AVN training. There you go. She's already put the link in. She's a star. Yeah, on the AVN training for AVN members, there's a one called events on there. The following day after that, we're doing positioning, because positioning is about how you want the world to see you. And even if you've done this before, okay, things might have changed in your world. So just like Brian, there may have been some major event that's happened in the last 12 months that's made you see things differently. And therefore, it's a good event to come and look at through and work. And we work through the positioning workbook on that day. We do a few little extra bits on top, but it's about making sure you are getting the business to deliver for you. So if you've done the goal setting this week, you'll know what you want. And then the positioning is about how does the business deliver that? How do you get the world to see you so you attract your ideal clients? How do you sit there and talk to clients about, and get them to connect with you so that you are getting your ideal clients? And how do you start marketing? Sorry, I've got a little fly. How do you then start your marketing process to make sure that you are then attracting those ideal clients? So we're doing some stuff on marketing as well on that, to start getting that right for you. So again, if you're just a small business, or it's just you and you're thinking, actually, how do I grow? Maybe positioning might be a better one to come on as well, or just do them back to back, because it's great to get your ideal client right. It's great to have a marketing plan, but if you don't have consistent pricing in the bag, then you start doing what historically accountants have done, is just coming up with a number to try and get the client without thinking about whether or not it's profitable to you. So definitely worth coming to those 2. So again, if you 15th and 16th, they are. Okay. And again, please tell your team, your team are welcome to all the events. Positioning slightly different because obviously that's for you as the business owner. So it's not really a team thing to do that one, but they can come on the goal setting, they can come on clarity, they can come on most of the other, nearly all the other events. Like I said, the positioning one's mainly for you because it's about your vision as the business owner about what's going on. Okay, has anybody got anything that they want to add or anything you want to ask the group today while you've got them here for some help?
Emma, could I just take a moment to mention about Thursday?
Sure she can.
I don't know if anybody knows what Thursday is, but it is it's National Day on Thursday, and it's called Time to Talk Day. And it's all about being open to having conversations, to talking to people, which I can tell by the 14 people that are on here and 3 with cameras on and having conversations that might be a bit difficult for some of you. It is based around mental health, so it's a big national day and a big push to get people to just have conversations, whether that's with family, with teams, with colleagues, with communities, and it's just all about feeling comfortable in having a conversation with somebody. We have opened up an acuity slot for a wellness call with me, which is just a coffee, a chat, talk about the weather, whatever you need to talk about, just to know that there is somebody that is here to listen. The PGs are here to have a conversation with if you want to talk to any of those. Shane's going to be doing a webinar on Thursday as well, so please just take some time during that day just to have a conversation with somebody or just to talk to somebody. We have got a system going out this afternoon, so there's posters, there's ways to start the conversations. So once that is live, we will send you the link to that as well, so you can get involved if you want to. But just remember that, you know, we are all here. It doesn't have to be a Tuesday webinar. It doesn't have to be a booked call. It can be any time that you need us. We're here for you to talk to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kerry. That's great. I think as well, it's about even just saying hello to your neighbour, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's about just letting people there and getting your team to be aware of it is really important. Julian, you've asked what CRM software is being used by the people. So who would like to jump in? Stephen, what CRM system are you using?
Hi, Emma. Yeah, we're using TaxCalc for the main part of the preparation. But you did use Iris for, like, as you know, 15, 20 years probably. And then, yeah, TaxCalc. And we're also using Centre, which is quite good. That's been recently taken over by Iris. And then we're also using a kind of more document management system as well, which is just one on the side, just a bit like I suppose you would have with SmartVault or someone like that, just to hold our electronic files.
Okay. Have you had a look at TaxCalc's practice management software?
Yeah, we do use TaxCalc's practice management. We don't use it to a huge degree because we use Centre for doing quite a bit of that, but we use it for its basic functionality. But TaxCalc have recently upgraded the facilities that are on offer within the practice management and offering. So it's worth taking a look at. It's very cost effective.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, like Stephen, we're using TaxCalc. I'm using TaxCalc because it gives you that basic functionality, and it just, you have one piece of software basically at the moment. It's like all things, if you wanted it to work perfectly, it's going to have to be bespoke. Well, that's not going to happen immediately. But you just think, yeah, it does most things, and it does most things reasonably well. That's all we want at the moment. And as he said, they're bringing out this communication centre, which I've had a quick look at. You're thinking, well, if it's reasonably priced and there's enough work to go through it, it's great because all the emails are going to be in one place, no more woof. And we've also been looking at making more use of SmartVault for holding documents and persuading clients, once we've rebranded it, once we've got it branded, telling clients, upload into there, just shove all your stuff in there, and we can put our stuff in there for you as well. And it's completely, what's the word, encrypted. That's it. When it's moving, it's just encrypted. So you think, well, that's great.
And that's about being more efficient in your systems, isn't it?
It is. And so less. And then, yeah, everyone's going to, the idea is people have spoken to, before you try out, say, does this sound like something to be interested in? Everyone's gone, yes, please. It makes it so much easier if I can just say, right, you want bank statements covering this, or you want the documents relating to that, I can just can I just upload it? I said, that's the plan. We've been telling them we're going to have our own portal. So I spoke to Smart Vault as well, and they said that they can't provide a direct link from our website, but they could provide us with a link which would take them, the clients, to their secure login into the Smart Vault system. But well, that'd be fine. We don't want them to log in from our website. Oh God, no! Imagine the security bananas going on at Smart Vault if they said, "Oh yeah, you can log in directly from anywhere." No, they'll take you to their secure login with their security protocols in place. I said that's fine, but they said they would be happy to talk about that sort of thing. So that's what we're looking at, really.
Okay.
So I know I've gone off trust relationship management software a bit there, but
well, no, but that's important too, isn't it? Because again, it's not just about job tracking, is it? It's about having something that allows you to be more systematic and efficient at communicating with clients, because that's ultimately that's what clients are valuing us on, isn't it? The relationship that we build with them, the communications that we have with them.
Indeed, also within Smart Vault, they've got some. I haven't quite worked out yet because I've only just found some of this stuff. It sits there. You think I'll have a look, but they have some pre-designed questionnaires and checklists which were looked at for tax. So I think I must have a proper look at those, and then it could be get people invited, and then they get the questionnaire from there. They get notifications. There's stuff to look at and to respond to. They can tick it off and just shove the documents into the vault, and we get notified. I'll get notified they're there.
Right.
So you say just makes it a bit easier.
Yeah. Those of you that aren't on camera, would you mind sharing what software you're using just in the group so that Julian gets a bit of a mixture, and why you're using it? I know you're eating your lunch, but perhaps you can just stop for a second and just type something in the chat box for us. Okay, Tax Calculator Center. Yeah. Oh, Tax Filer, VT, and QuickBooks. Yeah. I think everybody has ones that they just feel comfortable using. It's about how you feel comfortable. What I will say is you've got a big team. It's what the team feel comfortable using. You might, I think I've said this before, for us in AVN, what Shane likes is not necessarily what the admin team like or I like. We all have our own needs from a piece of software, so you've got to get other people involved a little bit as well. So, okay, Center is much more customizable and better for CRM element. Iris, Kevin's using. TaxCalc and CCH, yeah, I've heard that they've been doing a lot more, and TaxCalc and Virtual Cabinet. Iris, yeah. I think perhaps, Julian, what you need to do as well, create your list of needs first of all, and then have a look around. But obviously there's a cost element as well. So I think several people have said to me that TaxCalc is quite friendly cost-wise compared to some of the others. But yeah, have a look around. But if you do want to speak to anybody, Julian, this is the other thing. If you have seen one, you go, this is the one I'm thinking of, then put it up into the Facebook group and say, anybody using this, you would be prepared to just have 20 minutes online with me and show me what they get out of it. Because it's much easier to learn from people who are using it, isn't it? Rather than some salesperson. Somebody using it will tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, as we say, about what's going on. Anything else people want to add? Right, so let me just check if there's anything else I need to put in. Okay, so our next one, like I said, next week is software training. It'll be around systems. So following on from what I've done today, how to update systems in System Builder. So any questions you've got for that, come prepared. Okay, so if there's something you want to do and you want to do it live, I'm sure Jenny would love to do that with you. Get you to do it live and make sure it works. That's the key thing. Okay, and otherwise, hopefully go and enjoy yourself. Go and have some time, nice time. Make sure you reward yourself for the great work you've been doing. Brilliant. Take care and have a lovely rest of the day.
Thank you, Emma. Bye.
Thanks, Emma. See you later, Emma. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.